the American College of Building Arts offers a unique 4-year college experience for students. Today, I talk one-on-one with Kathleen Buckley, the Director of Marketing and Recruiting, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Kathleen Buckley, welcome to the award-winning Quintin's Close-Ups.
It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you coming over to the school
Yes.
and taking a tour.
Yes.
It's our little gym.
Yes, amazing
Yeah.
architect here.
Yeah, this is one of the capstone projects. And the capstone projects are done by seniors each year. Instead of a thesis paper, they do a project. When we went on the tour, it's like they're all over the school, which is really neat.
It really is. And I know that obviously you are the Director of Recruiting and Marketing here at the American College of Building Arts.
Right.
Let me ask you this, Kathleen. What is the state of building arts?
I'm sorry?
What is the state of building arts?
Building arts has been a dying art for a long time. The school originally started when Hurricane Hugo came through. So Philip Simmons and a lot of the old artisans that knew the craft were the only people left that could give it to the next generation. So they were able to I think the first class was like 11 students, to go down to the Battery and restore all these. I mean, nobody knew how to do plaster. You know, Philip was amazing with iron work, which you can walk downtown and everything is iron and plaster, and the architect, you know, people just didn't know it. They were used to going to a big box store, buying some 2x4s and putting up sheetrock, and that is not what it is. I mean, you've got to understand the history of how it was made back then. For example, if you walk into a home that was built in 1670, the plaster mixture, it's almost like little recipes where you put so much lime in it, and then they would use horsehair, for example, as like rebar to hold the plaster together. You know, and you go to the Capitol in D.C. and it's going to be a different time period. So that's one of the things that we teach the students, so they can walk in anywhere and go, this time period, this would have been used, and this is the recipe that we need to use to fix the plaster, or this is how they did woodworking, and this is typical wood that they used back then.
Wow. And you talk about the history. Everyone knows that this used to be a maintenance hub for mostly transportation mechanisms, such as buses.
Right. It was originally the trolley barn, where all the trolleys would come out on the electric wires in here at night, and they would get fixed, and then they'd go out in the morning, because we're right off Meeting Street, so it goes right down the middle of the peninsula. And then when the electric went away, then it was the bus depot, so the buses came in. And it sat empty probably for, I think, 20-25 years. And thankfully, Mayor Riley loved the school, realized how important it was, especially to our community and around the country, of keeping the artisans alive so that they could help everybody up and down, especially the East Coast, since this was settled first. So it sat empty, and Mayor Riley sold the college the building so that we could do with it whatever we needed to take the school to the next level. Because we used to be in the old city jail, and a lot of people remember us in the old city jail, but we graduated.
and speaking of which, let's talk about it. I mean, let's say 2006, 2008 to right now, what is the biggest difference about the American College of Building Arts?
When it first started, it was a reaction to fix all the homes downtown. And as it kept progressing, now we're a 4-year accredited college. We're the only one in the country that has a 4-year degree, a liberal arts degree. So when the students come in, they are learning English, math, drafting, science, and all of it has to do with when they go out to the shop. Whether they choose stone carving or plaster or timber framing, which is the big stuff, and then carpentry, which is all the inside doors, windows, staircases, and stuff like that. So they are learning the history. They have to take a preservation class, so you know they know the colors. They can go to Williamsburg, Virginia, and know, okay, you can't use like a paint off the shelf. You have in order to keep it original, you've got to be taught all this stuff. So when we became accredited as a 4-year degree, you had to have certain classes, and before that the students were just being taught the trade. Now the education piece is brought into it, which is totally shifted and changed.
As a matter of fact, I know the American College of the Building Arts provides a unique 4-year college experience, training the next generation of artisans by integrating professional training in the building arts with a broad-based liberal arts core curriculum. How do you train and integrate these artisans today?
Let me understand. So what do they do when they leave here? We have externships. So each summer, the students are required in their programs to go out and work in timber framing, or for an architectural firm, or a stone carving. We've had students go over to Paris for externships. The Statue of Liberty has reached out to us to work with our iron guys, because it's not just a matter of soldering stuff. They've got to understand the materials that the Statue of Liberty is made on. I've had people personally reach out to me on my LinkedIn saying, when can I get your students? I'm like, they're not football players where you can just pull them off the field and they jump on another field. They need that 4-year degree, because the first 2 years, you're learning all the book stuff. And then the last 2 years, like with a regular college degree, you're out there really applying everything that you learned. So it's really important that they finish their 4-year degree so that they have all the knowledge, not partial knowledge.
And matter of fact, on the college's website, they said this quote: "The American College of Building Arts is not for everyone." Who are those prospective students you're trying to connect with right now?
People that do not want the typical classic teaching, of going to get your CPA or your law degree. It's a lot of parents are like, we want a 4-year degree program. It's like, well, we have one. And they're like, really? It's like, yeah. So we've got students literally from all over the country that come here because we don't have any satellites, and because our curriculum is so different. It's classical architecture, so it's all preservation and stuff like that where you have to learn it. So 2 of our professors, for example, in carpentry are from Paris, France. One of them is from Germany. We just have people from all over the world that have come here, and so they're learning the old style craftsmanship that is just not available anywhere else. So it's the students that want to be creative. And I have adults. I just had an adult that applied and just got accepted. He was in the military for 23 years, and he wants to start his second career. And he's like, I want to do carpentry. I want to learn all this stuff so I can have my own business and do what I always loved to do versus having a job. It's a job, but now it's what I love to do versus sitting behind a desk and not getting the full education, because there are trade schools and those are great, but you're not going to get the 4-year classical training like we offer here.
And when you look at 2020, where did the majority of your existing students at this came from?
All over the country. You would think that a lot of people would be from the Charleston area. There's a lot of people in Charleston that don't know about this school. So I was brought on to help go, we're here.
Yes.
It was interesting. One of my girlfriends, she and I are on a board of directors together here in town, and her son went to Bishop England, and he was, at one of, I'm not going to name colleges, but he was at one of the colleges following in his brother's footsteps in engineering. He's like, I don't like it. So she goes, you're coming with me. We're going to go take a tour. Within a week, he had his application. He had everything done for me, and he's accepted, and he's going into carpentry. And he's so excited, and he had no idea it was here. So for me, I'm like, people in Charleston don't even know it's here. But we're fine. All these people, it's like we had a PBS come in and do a special on us. We've had Bob Vila come in.
Yes.
He loves this place. He's like, whatever I can do for you, Kathleen, we're here for you. I mean, this program is so needed in the country because when I go out to work on these old homes, a lot of the people that I'm bringing in, they don't know what to do. So it slows me down, and he's like, we need this so badly. Yeah.
Now, when it comes to recruiting, Kathleen, let me ask you this. How do you then revise and rearrange your target market regions?
We're working with, it's multi-tier.
Okay.
We are going into schools. Marshall, who I also work directly with, she's amazing. She has worked with different colleges, much bigger colleges. So she's bringing her expertise to the college with what you need to do to recruit.
Sure.
It's been a challenge right now with COVID because we can't go to the schools and do the shows and get in front of the students and talk to them. For me, I'm working more with second career people that have been out for a while, going, I want to do something creative.
Sure. And
COVID has come along, and we have seen more students than Marshall said we've seen in a long time because they've gotten laid off their jobs. And they're like, what else is out there?
Right.
We've had a lot of students that have seen the PBS and this old home and just doing research and just saying, what do I do now? We had one of the young ladies, she's in her mid-40s, and she was in HR in Atlanta, got laid off. She goes, you know what? It's time for me to do something different. She's in plaster, loves it. I mean, she's like, loves it. And she's like, I'm so excited that I figured out that I can just like stop. I don't have to stand in line with 1,000 people for one job anymore. With the degrees here, people are knocking at our doors for our students because they're not out there. They're just not out there. They don't have the knowledge because it's such a dying art. And it is literally art. We went on our tour, and it's not just welding something together. I mean, you really have to understand how it was made during that time period.
Right.
It's so much more, and learning the math and how to put things together. And one of the things that I love as well is the professors are here because they want to be here, and a lot of them have had their own businesses or still do have their own businesses. So the students are really getting a broad spectrum of not just a professor just talking at you. They can go, in my business, or they'll include them on projects that they're working on. So it's evolving. And what's really interesting too is we've had a lot of grandparents that they see their grandchildren struggling, and the parents are working full time, and because of COVID, a lot of people are home. And the grandma will reach out and go, hey, have you looked at this college of building arts? So it's really fascinating where we're finding people. I know, it's a lot.
I don't know, it's perfect. As a matter of fact, I wanted to ask you this. If you were to run an enrollment survey right now, why did the previous students pick this particular college?
One of the things is they love the fact that it's a 4-year degree program. It's prestigious because the people that are looking for them, I mean, there's not many of them out there. So they are pretty much guaranteed a job when they leave. And part of it is, as long as you're doing what you love and you're doing these externships, you're getting in front of people, because each summer you've got to go work for somebody. So they're able to be put in places that they would never be able to be put in. And then the connection, all of our professors, like I was saying, I mean, Germany, France, I mean, they're so well connected, and it's such a small community that it allows the professors to connect with each other. And then now, with alumni out there, the alumni is like, give me some students, because I know what education, I went through the college, I know what they had to go through, and I know the knowledge that they have.
And what is the current, obviously, number when it comes to the alumni?
That's what, again, because we're such a young school, and we've been slowly growing, the alumni are amazing. All of them are in the profession which they chose, which is a rarity, because most people, go and get their degree in something and then totally get out of their degree. I mean, that happens more as you and I know.
Right.
With this, it's so specific that they stay in their degree of what they came here to learn for. So.
And I know, obviously, with COVID, like you just mentioned, you really can't get inside most of these schools and colleges. Which marketing channel helps generate the most inquiries from potential students?
Right now, it's social media. I'm all over social media, and I get a lot of people reaching out to me through social media going, tell me more about it. Can I go on a tour? I'm like, sure, come on in. You know, because it's like you had never been here.
Right.
I mean, once it's like when we got done, you're like, wow.
Yes.
I mean, until you come here and feel the energy, it's totally different than looking at pictures, because it's not books. It's not. It's a whole feel within the school and the energy and seeing all the creativity, and the students are wonderful. I mean, they love going. It's like before COVID, they would go out with Marshall to these schools and talk and say, I'm a student and I love it. And it's totally different when you have an adult come in versus one of the students come in and talk about, and they're passionate about it. And they're like, this is really fun, you know?
And we went upstairs just a few seconds ago, and obviously the kids, instead of getting textbooks, they get a toolbox.
Yes. So everybody gets a toolbox their freshman year in timber framing and carpentry. So everybody has the same tools, just like a textbook. In our iron shop, you can't just go to a big box store and buy the tools. So in iron, they make all their own tools. By the time they graduate, they have their whole tool set.
Wow.
You know?
Amazing.
It's really, like I said, it's just been fascinating learning and being able to tell people about this amazing place.
Please. As a matter of fact, how do you shift your marketing budget from digital and actually boost it?
Mine is so grassroots right now at this point. And thankfully, because we have had Bob Vila come in and PBS, Garden and Gun, we've had so many different people come in. And now you're they're like, what is this school all about?
Yes.
All of it helps. So it's I really appreciate you coming and talking and learning about our cute little school that we're going to get growing. So, you know, people from, we already have people from all over the country, but it's going to be fun getting more people, finding their passion and getting out there.
Absolutely. Now, how are you going to change their meaning the students and the parents' perspective of this particular college now that you have laid out all of this information?
I don't know that it's, when they come here and they start doing their research and they realize it's a 4-year degree program, the parents are happy because they know that their child is getting a 4-year degree program. The young students are seeing their passion in the workshops, and then they figure out the importance of, you know, the education piece of it, which mom and dad realize are so important. So it's not really hard that way, because the parents see they're getting their 4-year degree and they're happy, and the students see, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, mom and dad. I don't want just a 2-year associate's degree.
And as a matter of fact, on the website it says this: but for those visionaries who can imagine creating additions to their built environment that will last for generations, saving historic structures for the future, and connecting our past to bring a new way of thinking into the new century, we welcome you. What's that new way of thinking in the midst of COVID?
So with the classic building art, they learn how to do how it was done. So they can go into a Capitol building in D.C. or Colonial Williamsburg or up in Boston, you know. One of our professors he was at the Cathedral of St. John in New York City and did the stone carving. I mean, that's a big deal. So the students can go anywhere they want. The other piece of, I guess, the new way of thinking is, it's not just you come here and you learn classical. Well, you can take that into modern day as well. So you learn all the skill set, but you can still be open and free to walk into a contemporary new building and bring some of the art with it. a less. It was back in the old days, as you and I both know. I mean, you can walk around downtown Charleston.
Yes.
It was very ornate. I mean, it was a status symbol to have the more ornate, as I've learned,
Right.
the more money, because it takes more time.
Sure.
Now you can still hire the artisans, and you may not be as ornate, but you can still have that one-of-a-kind piece. So that's what we're trying to get people to understand is it's not just all you're going to be doing is working on old stuff. You can also work on new stuff and incorporate the old stuff with the new stuff. And it's learning the stonework. It's if you want to go downtown and see these beautiful stonework, all up and down the Battery, it's like you can have a brand new house, a multi-million-dollar house, and you can have one of our students come carve when they graduate. It's like, don't steal students carve. You gotta let them graduate, and then they can do this amazing stuff, and they can go in people's, homes downtown and make these beautiful water fountains, and do the rotundras and all this amazing things, that you can do in brand new houses. So it's a mix. It's not just, oh my gosh, it's a box where you can only do classical. It's like, no, you're learning, so you can apply it to anything.
And as a matter of fact, the college is designed to have a maximum size of 200 students because you all obviously value the apprenticeship and master relationship. How has COVID unfortunately changed that?
It really hasn't.
Yeah.
Our class, we were shut down for a few weeks right when COVID started because nobody knew what was going on. But obviously, as you saw on the tour, I mean, you can't build something via online.
Right.
So we offered Zoom classes. So the classroom part, if they didn't feel comfortable sitting close to each other, they could do the Zoom. But as you saw in the shops, I mean, you've got plenty of space between you and stuff like that.
Right.
So we were pretty much able to accommodate both. So, and we still have the video that people are able to do the Zoom in the classroom if they want to.
And the website also says this too. We believe the centuries-old method of education provides the best practice and formation of educated artisans. Our small class sizes 6-to-1 and in intimate learning environments compelled us to keep our freshman cohort capacity to 48. What method of education is the American College of Building Arts actually using now?
It's the same model. We don't want to get over 150 to 200 students because the one-on-one, unlike big colleges where you can sit in an auditorium with 300 people, and because it's so hands-on, when students are learning stuff, you need the professor to be able to get around. So a lot of our classes are anywhere from 3 students to 15 students in a class. So they're getting that professor's attention.
Sure.
So when you're working on a project, you're not standing there twiddling your thumbs. If you have 50 in a class and waiting for that teacher to get to you.
That's right.
And then, the other students can hang around and learn as that professor's teaching them something as well. So it's very conducive for everybody to learn in a small environment and learn from each other.
And let me take you to, obviously, admissions. The American College of the Building Art offers rolling admissions. Obviously, you do not accept students mid-year. You do accept applications and make class formation decisions beginning September 1st of every year. How many other decisions have you been making since September, actually?
Well, the reason we can't do the rolling admissions as regular is because of the trade part.
Oh, yeah.
So the academic is easy to do, but with us it's not, because they immediately start, they get their toolbox, they start building their tools for whatever classes they're doing. So you can't go back and redo the projects. So you have to literally start. So our admissions deadline is the end of June this year, so that the students start in August.
Okay.
And then they go through the entire year with different projects and incorporating their classroom skills mixed with their workshops.
And obviously, as you know, applications for the fall semester are now open for 2021. And they say, given the huge amount of applications we've received for our current freshman class, we recommend applying early to secure a spot as seats are limited in each of the craft specializations. And what is the number of the current size as far as freshman students?
Well, each area is different. As you saw, it's like our wood shop is a lot bigger.
Yes.
When we have a lot more students there and we're getting ready to build, it's like I was showing you, we've run out of space. So the students are actually going to get to work on the project to make that area bigger for the freshmen coming in. Oh. Our iron shop has only got so many, like, I don't know if you remember, like the little, I think we can do 17 students back there. The plaster students, I think we've got like 8 or 9 little desks. It's creative space. The architecture, I'm trying to remember how many, because we just have, we're really getting a lot of enrollment there. I think we've got 12 drafting tables up there for the architectural drawing. So each one of them are a little different, but as we grow, like with the wood, we're building and next door we've got an empty building, and we're talking with the people that own that. Is more class space over there to grow. So we're already looking at growth because we're really getting, a lot of people that are going, you know what? This is cool stuff, and we really want to do this and not go the traditional route of college. It's just not for us.
Wow. And how many waitlisted students have you reached out to from last year to now?
Right now, I mean, it's been really balanced in terms of the wait list has not been bad at all.
Oh, good.
We've been able right now to pretty much get everybody in.
And I know, obviously, you do a lot of social media.
Yes.
How does the college actually capitalize on the increased web traffic?
Our website is very detailed with a lot of information. So most people, it's like when they find out about us through social media, they go to the website and there's so many answers there. And if they're not, they can get in touch with any one of us and we can answer questions.
And when you look at Charleston in the arts, how do you create that ultimate virtual experience?
That's a good question. It's hard to do it virtually. It really is. One of our professors here, we've got a little video. So like when we're doing our tours like you saw today, if people can't make it, he's got the little phone on the camera. Did you see him? Yeah. So if people can't make it, they can follow in on the Zoom, and go that way. Wow. So we're doing everything we can so that students, if they can't make it, for whatever reason, they're with everybody. And getting the virtual experience and hearing the questions that the parents and other students are asking.
And how do you replicate the engagement and affinity that can build in person through virtual events?
Ask me that again.
Yes, ma'am. How do you replicate the engagement and the affinity that you can build in person through virtual events?
I'm working on that one.
Okay.
I'm working on that one.
Okay.
Because it's really hard too.
Ooh, I bet.
It really is.
And I know, once again, you have social media, but what tools are you lacking right now to really recruit?
I'm not lacking any. I mean, social media I know how to do it. And I have fun with it. My background is marketing, so I mix doing pictures and storyboards with my little videos, so people are seeing action if they can't be here, and then they can also go look at the storyboards and learn about the professors and seeing the student projects and stuff like that. So I do as much action pictures and videos as I can, so that it was interesting. This morning we had a huge crowd. We had more people than we expected, which is a really good problem to have. One of the people were like, "Oh yeah, I saw on Facebook where," and I'm going, "People are really watching," because it was stuff I posted, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw that." So they're watching the videos and they are paying attention.
Wow. That's amazing. What does that predictive enrollment modeling for your college?
I'm still learning
Okay.
that. So we are ahead of where we've ever been right now in terms of enrollment.
Yes.
And, I always believe out of bad comes good.
Sure.
And while COVID has been awful, it has really opened people's eyes up to a different type of education. And people just are more open instead of so set in their ways. If this is the way, my mom wanted it or my dad wanted it, they're opening their eyes and ears. And people are on YouTube and all this stuff, and they're finding us.
Yes.
Either through, my marketing efforts, with social media, or, like I said, PBS and you now, and Bob Vila
Yes.
and Garden and Gun. People are out there, and they're just searching stuff, and they're finding us, which is wonderful. Versus if everybody had been at home prior to COVID, they may not have even been looking for an alternative.
And how concerned are you about the application trends among African American, Latino, and obviously other applicants?
Mm-hmm. We are big into diversity.
Okay.
And Marshall, who you met,
Yes.
she and I that's one of our main focuses right now.
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of stigma with that's just menial work. And it's not. It's a craft, and Philip Simmons,
Right.
he was an amazing artisan.
Yes.
So to pigeonhole something, it's not reality. So we're educating everybody that it's an art form, and it's value.
Yes.
And it's not your typical timber framing guy that's like going out with 2x4s and nails,
Yes.
And there's a lot of people that just have that stigma. And I'm like, no. This is an amazing trade. It's craft.
Right. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And how does your college examine its admission policies and practices around, obviously, access and equity?
Because we're a 4-year accredited program, students can get all the grants and federal funding and stuff like that. So that's been a huge help because we are a private nonprofit. So unlike some of the bigger universities, which get a lot of funding, we don't. So it affords our students with our accreditation so that they can go get the funding that they would if they went to one of the big colleges here in South Carolina.
And obviously, you have the accreditation, you have the students, you have the programs. What funding do you need to keep this going?
We need students that want to do this and learn about this and understand really what we're teaching. Because that's one of the biggest things is, I keep going back to, this isn't putting up 2x4s. This is learning a true craft. And it's like our professors that are from Europe.
Yes.
We've got 2 from France, 1 from Germany. Over there, they have to go through 10 years of apprenticeship before they can even go work with a client or open their own business. It's totally different. And we're offering it in 4 years from these amazing professors that have come over here that love the school. They beam, and if I need them, they're like, Kathleen, what do you need? We'll do videos, we will go out and talk to people with you. We've got students that are the same way, they're passionate. I was back talking to some of the Plaster students who are like, Kathleen, tell us what you need from us. We love it. We can tell you how it felt to be a freshman, in a trade program like this, and where we are now, and how it all builds, so that the math, in high school, you're like, I don't want to do math.
No.
And they're just like, but it relates to what we're doing.
Yes.
So they're just like, we feel, so we want to be able to tell other students that because we are students, versus you telling them. We want to be able to help you because we want other people to find their passion like we have. And I love that, that the students want to help and tell other people. This is really fun. And there's no stigma that, you're beneath somebody because you're doing a trade like this.
And what passion have you developed with your obviously time here at the college?
Well, it's kind of an interesting background for me. I got involved in November. The president, General Colby Broadwater, and his wife, I met when he and his wife first came here because I'm friends with friends of theirs, and we've kept in touch all these years. So I've had a passion since they were at the city jail, and I've watched General Broadwater grow this thing from a tiny school with no accreditation to where we are now. And I'm like, my passion is like, I believe in this, and I love seeing people find their passion, and I just think it's amazing. And here we are in Charleston, South Carolina, and we have this gym. And to be able to give that to students all over the country, and to have amazing jobs and opportunities when they get out, and they're doing what they love versus let's just go to a regular school that I'm like putting a round peg into a square hole because mom and dad said I need to go here. We're giving the parents the happiness of having the 4-year degree and the student the opportunity to do what they love to do.
And let me ask you this too. When it comes obviously to, as you mentioned, money, what scholarships and financial aid are available right now for the average student?
That is not my specialty.
Okay.
So, but all the federal funding, just like if you were to go to a regular school, is there. We have a lady here on staff that specifically works with them. We have board members and supporters in Charleston that have set up some scholarships and stuff like that, like with any school. So I can't go into detail with that, but we've got a lady here that specifically works with that. And then, like, for example, the externships.
Yes.
They have to do them each summer. And we have a lady, Martha, that all she does is work with the students. So if they want to go over to Paris,
right,
or, some kids are like, I want to go back home for summer. It's like, okay, well, if you want to go home, then you need to find a place, that's in your trade so that we can, because we're an accredited school, she's got to go through the process to get them set up for the externship. So it's not just I want to go work here. It's no, we've got to get them in our system. They understand that there's curriculum that's involved and what they need to be taught. And so they can either have us help find a place, because we've got a lot of people that, already are using and wanting our students. And then if they want to bring somebody to the table and say, I really want to work for this company when I graduate, can you help me? They're like, absolutely. So it's not all just one way or the other. I mean, we're very flexible with helping the students find their passion, not only here, but in their externships as well.
Have you found your passion by being here?
Yes, I have. Can you tell? I love it.
Yes.
I really do.
Yes, great school here.
It is.
And so how do we apply if we want to come here as a student?
People can go online, or they can give us a call. I mean, Marshall and I are always giving tours. I mean, people just walk in off the street sometimes and say, I want to take a tour. I've always wondered about this place.
Wow.
And so the admissions process is each month. Our committee meets, and Marshall and I are there to just kind of answer questions because we're the ones working with the students.
Okay.
And then there's an admissions committee, so they go through, all the transcripts and essays and all that kind of stuff. And then we answer the questions. So once a month, within 5 days after everybody meeting, we can let our students know that quickly. Versus a lot of the big universities, you may not know for months before you're accepted. And with us, it's within a week.
Wow.
So students, like right now, we, our open house now,
Yes.
if they leave here and they can immediately go online. We've got the admission, form that they fill out and all the information they need to do. And, if they want to get it together in a week or a month or a year, I mean, they can apply, but they need right now to get it done before June. The end of June, so that they can start the year off, because like we've talked before, they can't in the middle of the year start because the trade part of it, they've already started on their projects. So, and you can't make that up.
Yeah. Wow. And hoping to come back here again soon.
Absolutely.
So, if I were to come back here in June, what do you want me to tell? What are you going to tell me about the American College of the Building Arts?
Well, you know what I may do is have you talk to some of the students.
Oh God.
They're amazing. They really are. They are. I mean, I have a passion, but to hear maybe one of their stories, you know, and or it's like talk a little bit to one student and then one of our professors that can talk about, you know, being over in Europe for 10 years and the apprenticeship and the opportunity that these students are really getting I think would be very beneficial for people to hear it from them.
Yes.
As to their side of it versus my side of it, because they've got so much to offer.
And which one of those students resembles you?
Well, I don't know. You know, by the time they get to their junior and senior level, they're as passionate as I am. I walk through it, you know, I'm doing my social media and doing pictures and stuff, and I'm like, what are you working on? Like a kid in a candy store, and they're like, and they get excited, and I'll look over at the professor, and he's kind of giving me the stink. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll let you get back to class. But it's like, I love it, and they're as passionate about telling me about their projects and what they're working on. So, yeah, they're amazing.
Amazing, yeah. I hope you come talk to them.
You'll love them.
Oh, yeah, I'm just, you know, not with all the public speaking. I'm so shy when it comes to that. But what do you want the American College of Building Arts to be heard about around the world?
How special and different we are, what we're offering here, and the opportunity that people have. We have a 2-year degree program, but the 4-year is really, it's kind of like getting your PhD in this field. And the students can come, what I'd like to see eventually is students coming from all over the world here and learning it and then taking it back to their own countries and starting their own businesses, you know? I mean, there's so much potential, you know, to give people the empowerment to do their dream. And it's not just here, it's like we just so happen to be here in Charleston, you know, and it started because of a hurricane and the need. And now, you know, people are contacting us from all over the country going, wow, we've got all these, you know, especially in the state capitals where all these beautiful old buildings are, and the homes as well, that they're going, oh, everybody fix them.
Wow.
So, yeah, that's one of the biggest things is getting that out, having people understand really what the school is about.
Amazing. Well,
thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen Buckley. Yeah, and thank you for your time on Quintin School. So it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll definitely catch back up in June.
Oh, great. I'll be right here.
Okay, thanks, Quintin.